Hey, we're with Clint Dagit. You guys probably remember the name Earl Dagit. Earl was your dad.
Yes, sir.
They had the truck Thumper, and then they had Thumper number 2, and they also had Lil Thumper. So, tell us, where are you from?
Well, we're from Florida, originally based out of Holiday when my dad first built the truck. Then we ended up moving to Spring Hill, and that's where we've been pretty much until now.
Okay.
I'm
All
still in the area. I'm in Brooksville, which is
Okay.
just county line, a road that splits the two counties, and that's
Okay.
about it.
Well, I remember seeing Thumper the first time, probably in the mid-'80s at the Indy Jamboree. The truck was green. I was never a green fan, but that thing was beautiful. That color, I'm not sure what color that was, but in the sun, that thing was just beautiful. And I remember the cartoon character on it. I just remember how clean the truck was and how beautiful it was.
Well, thank you.
Tell me a little bit, you had to have been pretty young back then.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how your dad got started and how the truck came around.
Well, as everybody, you had a four-wheel drive shop back in the day. And we used to go to tractor pulls in Tampa Stadium and see Bigfoot, King Kong, which is right behind us. I got a picture of me sitting on the tire, in fact, of King Kong, when they used to have the actual tractor pulls and the actual rig poles. And we enjoyed that. And these, of course, were a sideshow. And like I said, I got a picture of me probably, 5, 6, 7 years old sitting on the tire. And then, everybody just started building them. And Dad decided to build one and to promote the business.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just started touring with it and everything.
Now, was Thumper a street truck to start with, or was it?
No, it was built out of several trucks. It was based on a 79 style truck. Actually, the cab was a 75. And the frame I think was actually a 75, and it was fish plated top and bottom. Dad always built things really strong, or he tried to anyway. Mm-hmm. And he just built it from there. He had in his mind what he wanted and everything and stuff. And we were in the process of still building it. It was finished in '85. I don't know the month or anything, but 1985 is when it was finished. And we saw Don Maples with Samson 1 at Tampa Fairgrounds at the Tampa Fair one day. He was just a display, and we ended up talking to him, and he had just finished his truck. And he's like, well, now they're starting to go to planetaries because everybody's breaking the 5 tons and stuff. I'm like, oh, great. We're still in the process of building ours. We're probably 80-90% done, and now we got to redo it again. But, and we started showing it, and of course, when you started going on, that's when they started hitting the cars sideways. Mm-hmm. And now you start hitting cars sideways, well, you started blowing the axles out. Mm-hmm. So now you got to go bigger. So and then we ended up going to the planetaries, which a lot of people don't know that my dad had gotten blowed up in, I think it was '86, putting the planetaries on the truck. A barrel had blowed up that they were cutting for parts. Mm-hmm. And my dad got the top of the barrel around his leg, and the only thing that really saved his leg was the cowboy boots he had on. Really? Besides that, would have blown the leg right off, his right foot. Mm-hmm. And the guy working for us at the time, he got the barrel this way and blew him about 50 foot back in the shop. But anyway, they got over that and everything, and we ended up putting the planetaries on the truck and stuff like that. And while my dad was in the hospital, he dreamt up Lil Thump.
Okay.
And that's because he was like, I was little, mm-hmm. and I couldn't help. I was grinding on the frame and stuff, and when I was 7, 8 years old, building the truck in '85, I could help out. I was always there after school and everything, but he just thought I didn't have nothing to do, so he dreamt up Lil Thump. Okay. Thought that might be good for like running the national anthem with the American flag, stuff like that, or like I used to go up with it to the cars and pretend I'm going to crush cars, mm-hmm. but it had no suspension travel. Mm-hmm. Now we got the technology where you got the 4-link. We didn't have that. This was leaf springs. Mm-hmm. But he dreamt up Lil Thump mm-hmm. in his head, mm-hmm. and he's like, when he got out of the hospital, while putting planetaries on Thumper 1, we also were in the process of building Lil Thump. Mm-hmm. And that's how Lil Thump came about, of him laying in the hospital and dreamt that up.
And that thing was pretty crazy, because I remember the first time I seen it, there was guys toying with little mini monster trucks, but most of them were on little Odyssey or 4-wheeler frames or a garden tractor frame.
Yeah.
And that thing had Dana 60s on it.
It had
a big
the old
460. I mean, that thing was insane.
Yeah. I always said, my dad really loved me. because you straddled it. It was 2x3 square tubing for the framework. Had Dana 60s or 70s, the old type military closed knuckles, shortened up, of course. Had 583 gears in it, and it steered front and rear. And we experimented at first with like a sprocket and chain drive and motorcycle brakes, and it was blowing that out. The pillar block wouldn't hold the power.
Yeah.
So we ended up taking I can't remember what transfer case was in it, and ended up turning it upside down and machining it so it was upside down transfer case. And like I said, I can't remember what that was. It was a small little transfer case. But yeah, it had a stock 460 in it at first. But you straddled, the gas pedal was on this side, the brake was on this side, and the shifter was right there on the tranny.
Now, what for transmission did it have?
C6.
It had a C6.
Yeah, it had a Predator carburetor on it with a Edelbrock Torquer 2 intake, Zoomy headers. The body was a go-kart body that was widthened. I can't remember how many inches, but it was lengthened 20-some inches, I think it was. It was cut behind the cab, in the center of the window, and in the wheel wells, the lengthen. It was all reinforced with plywood. And like I said, he said, and I always said, yeah, his dad really loved me. And it had a TCI blow shield, but there was nothing, no firewall or nothing. And you know, we meant to make a full firewall and all that, make it all enclosed. But I'm like, yeah, you really love me. This thing blows. But yeah, we tried to tour with it. I mean, some promoters paid with it, and how we hauled it is we winched it on top of the tires, and it sat in between the tires.
Wow.
And the other truck came behind it, because you know you had your rack for your tires back then and stuff and everything.
Well, and then what for hauler did you have back in those days?
Well, Dad started out with an old F600 with a gooseneck I think it was a 3-axle trailer with mobile home tires on it, you know, and that it just didn't do it. I mean, these trucks, you really didn't weigh them back then. The Thumper one originally came out probably after the planetaries. That truck weighed 19,000 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, and to see that thing fly through the air, especially 6 foot, because we got pictures, you know, flying through the air, and you can see people standing there. I mean, that's pretty cool.
That was
you know,
big, yeah.
take 19,000 pounds and fly it through the air over, and you're, you know, that far in like 3 or 4 cars, and you're seeing somebody 6 foot guy standing on the other side or something. But we started out with that, and then moved into a CL 9000 cab over. Had some trailers built. And then we ended up with a LTL 9000 with an 80-inch double eagle sleeper. Okay. And had a trailer built with a box in it and all that. Okay. Yeah, so.
Now it was still an open trailer with a box?
Yeah, it was open trailer. Everybody started going to enclosed trailers then, but we still had an open. Yeah. And everything.
Now on that little Thumper, how long do you think the wheelbase and stuff was on that?
The wheelbase was from center to hub was 5'2". The frame was 9'2", I think, and it had you sat in the seat. Like I say, the motor, it was all motor there. The gauges are bolted right on the back of the motor, the tach, the oil pressure and temperature. The gas tank was a moon tank right behind me, and then the radiator sat back there, and the coolant copper tubing ran through the 2x3 tubing or the square stock to the motor up front. And then you had the battery in the back, and that was it. And so, and it was only the tires were 43 inches, so 86 inches wide, because like I said, your tires were here, and it just sat right up there. Yeah. And it still wasn't as wide as the tires. Yeah. So, yeah, it was pretty neat. It was something neat.
Well, the thing used to do killer donuts and stuff.
I mean, I was young too, you know. I mean, when the 460 was, you know, it was just stock, 500 some horses. And then when we, of course, Thumper 1 got parted out over the years and stuff like that. And we built Thumper 2. And
well, let's deal with that on our next episode. Okay. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that. Come back next week and we'll start where he just left off. We'll start talking about Thumper number 2.